for example, there's a movie being made of me, a biopic, and I spent 5 hours being interviewed in a studio for that. And they did ask some things. The question they asked that might have been the most, I'd say, curious one is, do I consider, am I an egomaniac? Am I a narcissist and things like that? And I've just been doing the same work for 30 years, and it's amazing what people come to the conclusion of. I mean, I've been in 8 movies. A movie about your life gets translated into Mongolian. I think, it doesn't get any better than that. Also, I've been on so much media in the last 3 days. Now we have 23 different songs out there on the Internet, on YouTube or MySpace or recorded on a CD, actually about me with my name in it, like Prince of Pot by the Tall Brothers or Free Mark by... There's 23 different songs now about me, and he's probably the only hater I'm aware of in this entire country. You would like to critique me because you're envious and jealous of the kind of attention I get, and you're the most known person for that. Everybody knows that in Canada. As we just discussed, I've been in 8 movies. They're making Mongolian editions of my movie. I was on CNN yesterday, the national network here in Canada. No one's ever heard of Marco Renda, so the fact that he's here criticizing me and has endlessly criticized me in Canada. I'm always reluctant to have someone give a voice to one of my critics who's completely irrational and very mean-spirited and has been for years. And like I say, who's heard of Marco Renda? I'm internationally well-known, and I'm a little insulted that you've got him on this show to ask these kind of absurd questions. Marco, you've always been one of the most bitter haters I've ever had in my whole life. In fact, I don't know if I have anybody who's been so needlessly critical of me in my last 5 or 10 years as you have. And yet you try desperately to emulate everything I've ever done.
I give freedom of speech to anyone, Mark.
Well, you shouldn't. I think, Marco Renda, you've always been jealous of me. At least you acknowledged I gave away $4 million to all these activist groups from 1994 to 2005. That's an unprecedented achievement for someone who basically comes from very ordinary circumstances like that. I'm not a Peter Lewis. I'm not a George Soros who has billions of dollars. I started this movement in 1990 in Canada where there wasn't a single activist. I'm the only person that anybody in the international media comes to in Canada for a comment because I've got that worldwide exposure. People know me. The fact that I am supremely and resolutely confident about what I'm doing attracts millions and millions of people to the cause. I'm the most recognized figure in the world in regards to marijuana legalization. There's no dispute about that. People, if they can get a free Mark T-shirt, wear that everywhere because people say, Mark who and who's he and what's going on? It's not in my nature to be fearful. And I think that some good things will come. If I get extradited, Canadians will be very angry, and a lot of Americans will be very angry, and that will cause them to take action. So to me, anything that causes people to take action is probably a good thing. So even if something unpleasant happens to me, like I go to jail for an extended period of time, I'm very confident it will kickstart a lot of people into doing something. And that's the most important thing of all, not what happens to me, but in what people do to change the world to make it a better place.